Hello, everyone, and welcome to Cafe. I'm Allison Godlove.
And I'm Clarence Reynolds. Great to be back with you to share all of the fun and exciting events happening this week.
So let's kick it off with Amy Sweezy. She is at the Orlando Science Center. Hey, Amy.
Okay. Ugh. I'm in the kinetic zone at the Orlando Science Center. And yes, these are the pulley chairs. Ugh, bet you can't guess why. I'm trying to lift myself up here. Ugh. I don't know if I can make it to the top. Hey, Jeff, how are you doing down there?
Yeah, it's not happening. Science is not my friend today.
All right, Jeff, well, how about you show me something else in the kinetic zone?
That sounds like a great idea.
All right, I'll be right down. All right, this is literally science in motion, Jeff. Tell me more about the kinetic zone.
Kinetic zone is all about physics, it's about engineering, it's about kinetic energy. All of Orlando Science Center is STEM, but what people kind of visualize when they talk about STEM is really right here in kinetic zone. All kinds of interesting opportunities like this Bernoulli table,
Magic.
which is using the power of air to levitate balls. We also have engineering challenges, which are challenging people to use their problem-solving skills, their collaboration, their critical thinking, all those important STEM skills.
I'm terrible at it.
This is my revenge on the pulley chair.
Right. Very cool. All right, so what else is in here?
We've got some simulators. We've got these great engineering challenges where you can create contraptions that go down a zip line. We play around with plasma balls and some of those traditional Science Center things. So there are a lot of physical science activities in Kinetic Zone that will bring back memories of probably Science Centers and museum visits that you went as a kid or when your kids were younger.
Right, and that's a good point too, because the Science Center, you always think about it's families with kids. Parents bring their children here, but it's really for all ages, right?
Yeah, there's no age limit on curiosity. So if you're interested in learning something new, come on down to Orlando Science Center. Also for adults specifically, we do Science Night Live, which is an adult night that happens 5 times a year, where on a Saturday night, we open up the Science Center specifically for adults with guest speakers, cool activities, and all the Science Center, but no kids.
All right, so you heard it right here. Bring your kids, don't bring your kids. It's all at the Orlando Science Center. Don't miss it. They are closed on Wednesdays during the school year, but open every other day of the week.
Yes.
Science is fun.
It is fun. She gets to do all the fun stuff, too. That's very cool. Thank you, Amy. Grab a drink and have a conversation about art at Art and History Museums Maitland for After Hours at A&H. On the last Wednesday of the month, December 28th, take a tour with Chief Curator Dan L. Hess. The guided tour will offer a deep dive into the history of the art on view, from its conception through creation to the decision that determines its presentation. Admission is free. The event is from 5:30 until 8. Go to artandhistory.org for more details.
From Ella to Coltrane, the jazz photography of Roger Callens is on display at Hannibal Square Heritage Center in Winter Park. This exhibition commemorates Callens' tremendous passion and talent for both jazz and photography, highlighting some of the best images taken over the last 50 years, from Ray Charles in Miami in 1958 to Sandip Burman at Daytona State College in 2007. 42 images are generously on loan for this 2-venue exhibition, and this will be the first showing of Callens' work to the Orlando public. Admission is free, so you won't want to miss it. Check it out now through January of 2023.
The Blue Bamboo Center for the Arts is hosting a free evening of jazz on December 29th. Chris Cortez, Walt Hubbard, Doug Matthews, Egg Kraut, and special guests will play a concert set followed by a jazz jam session. So if you play, you are encouraged to bring your instrument and sit in. A guitar amp, bass, amp, drums, and a piano are all provided. There's no cover charge for this. This is made possible by a grant from the City of Winter Park and the American Rescue Plan. The doors open at 7 o'clock.
Self-taught artist Trent Manning brings his provocative menagerie to Janine Taylor Folk Art in Sanford. Bits and Pieces, The Art of Trent Manning, runs through December 31st. Now, Manning is a self-described disillusioned cynic with an odd sense of humor who still clings tightly to his inner child. His sculptures are put together from materials and objects that find new life in his hands. Go to jtfolkart.com for more information. I had a chance to talk to Gabe Pricer from Opera Orlando to talk about the opera scene here in Central Florida. Take a look. Gabe Pricer from Opera Orlando is here to tell us about what Opera Orlando is all about. Gabe, thanks for being with us.
It's my pleasure, Clarence. Thanks for having me.
So in its 7th season here in Orlando, tell us a little bit about Opera Orlando, because a lot of people probably think classical music only. That's not it.
The opera is the culmination of all art forms. So we have the singers, of course, but then you have the orchestra, we have dancers, you have big sets, costumes, hair and makeup, lighting design, set design. So it's all those art forms coming together to tell a story. If you take the word opera, it's Italian for a work. So in this case, it's a work of theater told through music. And opera's been around for over 400 years, goes all the way back to the 1600s. So it's really our shared humanity, our shared history, our shared legacy, these stories like Romeo and Juliet that then turned into West Side Story, right? And even West Side Story is somewhat operatic by Leonard Bernstein, who wrote operas like Candide. And then we just did The Magic Flute by Mozart, which is kind of the Star Wars version of an opera, the hero's journey, saving the princess with a furry sidekick, you know? So it's these stories that we can relate to, and opera has a wonderful legacy, and we're just excited to share it with the Orlando community.
And you mentioned the storytelling. I mean, having opera in Orlando is really important, because that kind of storytelling through these amazing voices is something that you expect in big cities, and Orlando being sort of a medium-sized city, it's important to have these stories being told and all of the costumes and all of the theater that goes along with it. Tell us what it's like to go to a show.
Well, we're very fortunate to have Dr. Phillips Center for the Performing Arts in our backyard in downtown Orlando. And I grew up in this area. I grew up in Apopka, and Orlando has come a long way over the past 10, 20 years. I would say we're really experiencing a renaissance in the arts because of the Performing Arts Center being right downtown, especially with Steinmetz Hall, which was just opened, just completed in January. And that is our home venue for opera. The reason that's so important is Steinmetz Hall is an acoustic hall. So we don't have to use microphones. And opera was written for natural amplification, right? Just the voice without microphones, the orchestra without microphones, and you can really enjoy and revel in that in Steinmetz Hall. So you come downtown to Dr. Phillips Center, which is a beautiful building. You come join us in Steinmetz Hall. You walk in, it's vertical, it just goes straight up, because that way the sound can rise. It has that kind of dome top to create that perfect bell-shaped acoustic. You hear the Orlando Philharmonic in the pit as our orchestra. At times we have dancers from the Orlando Ballet on the stage. Our performers are in full costume, full sets. Sometimes the opera's in a foreign language. I know that might, be intimidating for folks, but don't worry, we have super titles, which are the English translations projected above the stage nowadays, to help you follow along. And like you said, you can just sit back and enjoy these beautiful voices in their natural setting in Steinmetz Hall.
And you didn't say it, but I'm going to say it. Steinmetz is one of the best, acoustically best theaters.
It's world class
in the world.
Yeah, one of a kind, really.
Here in Orlando, Florida. And when you say unamplified, the sound is truly amazing.
Like we just did The Magic Flute, which has dialogue. Sometimes people think opera is just singing, but that's not true. Some operas actually have dialogue. And we debated whether we would need to mic the singers for that, but it was amazing. You could hear the dialogue clear as a bell all the way throughout the space, even in the uppermost seats.
So what's coming up for Opera Orlando? Are we at a place where you're growing, or is this sort of the sweet spot of where the organization wants to be?
We're still growing, and we've been very fortunate. There's no question about that, especially with COVID and some of the other issues that we have faced. But as you mentioned, this is our 7th season at Opera Orlando. When we started in 2016, we were doing 2 productions at the Pew Theater, which is only 300 seats. Now we're up to doing 6 productions a year, 3 of those in Steinmetz Hall, which is 1,300 seats. And for the Magic Flute, we almost sold out on Sunday. Only had 50 seats left for our Sunday performance. And that was the most we've ever sold. It was a record breaking for attendance and ticket sales. So we continue to see growth as a company. When we started in 2016, our annual budget, to talk numbers briefly for those that like numbers out there, was only $250,000 annual budget. And now we're over $2 million. And we've always been in the black, which is a good thing. If you know nonprofit, we've always been in the black, and our cash reserves have grown from the beginning, where now we have over $300,000 in cash reserves for the organization. And an endowment fund that just got started last season. Many thanks to Helen Leon, if she's watching. She did $1 million pledge to start an endowment fund for the opera. So we're extremely grateful and very just, thank you to the Central Florida community for getting behind. Like you said, we deserve all the fine arts groups at a high level. We deserve to have a professional opera company in Orlando. We're a major city. We're an international city.
And if you've never seen an opera, I will tell you it is an experience. You will absolutely love it. You need to treat yourself in your lifetime to at least one if you ever have an opportunity. And here in Orlando, we have one of the best.
Oh, well, you're very sweet. We have some great ones coming up for people to enjoy. And I say there's something in opera for everyone.
Yes.
So there are comedic operas, there are tragic operas,
My
there's
favorite.
operas in English, right.
Well, Gabe, thanks so much for being with us. And of course, as I said, go see an opera. And here in Orlando, Opera Orlando is a place.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Clarence.
Relax and enjoy holiday blooms through January 3rd at Harry P. Lou Gardens. Take a stroll through hundreds and hundreds of colorful and unique poinsettias, along with seasonal flowers and foliage, creating a wonderful, magical garden for the holiday season. This annual display is getting bigger every single year, so expect to see more this year than ever before. Get tickets at lougardens.org, or you can go there in person.
Also at Lou Gardens, immerse yourself in the wonder and mystery of the holidays at Dazzling Nights 2022. Now, this interactive holiday event features 1 million dazzling lights, shining forests, magical displays, and beautiful sculptures. The 3/4 mile experience is all new and family friendly. There are dozens of photo opportunities, live entertainment, and food, so check it out at Lou Gardens through January 6th. Go to dazzlingorlando.com to get tickets.
Opera Orlando presents All Is Calm, the Christmas Truce of 1914 on December 23rd and 24th. Witness the moment of peace told through word and song by those who lived it. Set along the Western Front during World War I, this moving work relates the historic events of Christmas Eve in 1914 through actual soldiers' letters and official military correspondence interwoven with old war songs and carols. This intimate and beautiful melding of music and theater is a wonderful way to celebrate the holidays as the cast performs a cappella. Go to drphillipscenter.org to get tickets. That seems fantastic.
Yes.
And just a wonderful way to spend a Christmas Eve.
I'm making out my whole end of the year list
You're
of
booked
things
up,
to
huh?
do. Yeah, I'm like Blue Bamboo, I've got to go to, I'm like everything.
Your
My
calendar's
goodness.
full. That's
Yes.
not a bad problem to have.
Definitely.
Well, that wraps up this week of events. If you have one you'd like to share with us for next month, be sure to send us an email at cafe@ocfl.net. I'm Allison Godlove.
And I'm Clarence Reynolds. Remember to join us next week to see what's new and exciting in your community.
When Gabe was talking about the All Is Calm, I really did get goosebumps when he was describing all of that.
Yeah, it's only an hour
Yeah.
too. I was like, wow.